Oh.
Is Brian Shaw strong enough to cut an apple? Well, let's find out.
We can get with this one. Oh. Oh boy.
Coach Greg, and today we're going shopping with Brian Shaw. We're going to see exactly what he's buying at Costco to fuel his 9,700 calorie diet. After that, we're going to go and watch him actually go through the food, prepare the food, and see what we can learn from him. First thing we're going to learn is it's not actually 9,700 calories. So as you can see, very difficult to actually track the calories in the foods you're eating. I added up the calories and it was quite a bit less than 9,700. Not saying it's not a lot of food, but it's not 9,700 calories.
If I'm not eating enough to recover from my training, I'm gonna stay sore, I'm gonna stay beat up.
So here's the thing with that. You can't just eat more food and help you to recover more. More isn't better. It's not always about eating more. If you're sore and you're not recovering, it doesn't just mean you need to eat more. You might be training too hard, not resting enough, not training smarter than last time. So Brian Shaw, who weighs over 400 pounds, does not need to eat more to recover faster. If it was just about eating more to get better, everyone would just be on 10,000 calorie diets and recovering and training twice a day, but it doesn't work like that. More food does help to a certain point, but after you reach that limit, adding in more doesn't help and it could actually hurt you. However, he's a strongman competitor, and the bigger you are, the easier it is to move weights. Doesn't help you recover more, but it does allow you to lift heavier weight.
So one of the options I get on the new diet is a variety of different fruit.
He's allowed to eat fruits of choice and vegetables of choice, which is amazing because if you don't like the fruits and vegetables that you're eating, you're not likely to stick to the diet. So he's choosing out his favorite fruits, vegetables for his diet, which is going to allow him to stick to this diet. Honeycrisp, his favorite apples, I 100% agree. Those are the best.
Most of the meals where I get an option, I'll get an apple, blackberries, blueberries.
So he likes blackberries, he's having apples, he doesn't like oranges, so he's going for the fruits and vegetables that he likes. He's also going to grab some spinach, some garden mixed vegetables to allow him to have some salads. He can't forget about the fiber and the micronutrients. Even though he has to eat a lot, he still needs to eat fruits and vegetables. Notice he's not on a carnivore diet. It's calories in, calories out. If he eats in a calorie surplus, he's going to gain weight. If he eats in a deficit, he will lose weight irregardless of the diet he is following. But one thing I would suggest is when you're having a difficult time getting in the calories, you're bulking as Brian Shaw is clearly doing, it's best to choose high calorie dense fruits and vegetables. In my cookbook, it literally lists from lowest calorie to highest calorie the fruits and vegetables you can choose from. So if you were to switch to more calorie-dense fruits such as avocado, persimmon, plantain, passion fruit, banana, even grapes, those would add a lot more calories to his diet, make it easier to get the calories that he needs. And if you're looking for high-calorie vegetables to make it easier for you to bulk on, well, try these. Dry split peas, dry lentils, cassava, yucca, edamame, corn, peas, parsnips. These are going to have a lot more calories. If you're trying to load up on spinach, a pound is only going to have 100 calories, so you're not going to get the calories that you need.
This might be one of the most Costco American things that I have ever seen, but quite literally you can buy a bucket of decorating icing.
And up next, a pail of icing, because who doesn't need a pail of icing? No, he's just kidding. He's not actually consuming the icing, but he's pointing out how ridiculous the world is when Costco is selling a 4-liter pail of icing. Imagine the calories. Do we really need that?
Alkaline water, I feel like it does a really good job of getting me hydrated. It's maybe something that a Mr. Edward Hall could learn about possibly.
And he's clearly taking notes from Eddie Hall as he's getting water to prevent him from getting dehydrated, which Eddie Hall clearly knows all about.
This is not on my diet, but I know Nathan and I will get a cheat meal at some point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these and I'm going to save them for that moment.
And you got to love how he's planning in advance for the time that maybe in the future he might get a cheat meal. So he's stocking up on mini cheesecake treats from Costco. just foreshadowing a little bit on when he actually decides to have those treat meals, of which he's supposed to have his coach approve of it. He doesn't wait. Spoiler alert. And I also want to point out that when you're bulking, you're allowed to have some junk or some treats. You don't have to eat perfectly. And so I see absolutely no reason why he couldn't have a treat of cheesecake every single day on his diet, which is a bulking diet. It's not like he's not eating junk on his diet anyway. You've all seen him eat rice cake treats every single diet, so I don't see the difference. Is Rice Krispie treats somehow healthy and cheesecake not healthy? What is the difference? My general rule of thumb, if you're eating 10% of your calories from junk, that's not bad. If he's eating close to 10,000 calories a day, it's perfectly okay for him to eat 1,000 calories a day of crap. It's not going to make any difference in the world.
We showed you some shopping, and there have been requests to see the full day of eating. So first up is bison from Trifecta.
And I love how accurate Brian Shaw is trying to be. It's 8 ounces of bison. He puts on 8.2, cuts off the 0.2 because every gram counts, yet the total calories add up to 9,700, but it's overestimated by about 2,000 calories. So does it really matter if he has 0.2 extra ounces? No, just eat the freaking food. And so for breakfast, very high in protein, 8 ounces of bison, 4 whole eggs, 1 little cup of spinach, 4 blueberry waffles, and some blackberries.
Now, meal number 2 is a quicker meal.
And an hour and a half's passed, and he's clearly got to eat already. And so meal number 2 is 3 scoops of protein powder and 3 packs of grits or oatmeal. It's a very quick and easy meal, and he's got to get those calories in.
Meal number 3, and this is my pre-training meal, so definitely getting excited for training today. But we got to get this meal in first.
And meal 3 is his pre-workout meal, and he eats this at least an hour before the gym, so it allows some of the food to digest. He doesn't want to train on a full stomach, and eating this many calories, that is hard to accomplish. And what does he eat? Well, 10 ounces of bison, an entire bag of French fries, because that's 1 serving for him, and he puts duck fat onto the bison. I don't know what to say. I don't think that's healthy. I don't know if there's any scientific literature to say that duck fat in particular is better for strongman or building muscle or any of that. I think it's just extra fat calories from a saturated source. I don't know. I'd prefer seeing something like salmon perhaps or some oil. I don't know why duck fat, but hey, it's Brian Shaw. He's getting in his calories. Also of note, he sprinkles a little bit of salt, then pours over the most amount of salt you've ever seen poured on a meal in your life. But that doesn't concern me because he's exercising and training a lot. He's 400 pounds, probably sweating profusely during his training. So that salt, that extra salt he's taking, it's not so dangerous. Unless he goes to the doctor and they say, hey, you got to watch your blood pressure, having problems, then you'd have to concern yourself. But for him, no big deal. And for dessert, the Rice Krispie treats, because that's not cheating on your diet. No, I can't have cheesecake, but I can have a Rice Krispie treats, which is basically just a sugar-laden cereal mixed up into a bar form. There's nothing wrong with him eating this. It's just, why is this part of his diet, but the cheesecake is not? I don't get that. It would be equivalent to saying, well, I'm going to have licorice and jelly beans for dessert, but I can't have a cheat because, I'm on a strict diet. It's contradictory.
When are we gonna eat the Rice Krispie treat?
You see how much he wants a Rice Krispie treat. He's literally, when can we eat the Rice Krispie treat? Because he knows it tastes too delicious to be real. So that is what he wants because it's junk food. And yeah, I'm vilifying food, but everyone knows that a Rice Krispie treat is not as healthy as an apple. Not saying you can't have both, but that one is healthier than the other.
Just finished up training and we are on to my post-training meal. And finally, we get to have some rice.
And I love this. It's his post-training meal and he finally gets to have some rice because if he had it for breakfast or his snack or his pre-workout meal, something bad would probably happen, so he can only have rice later. Yet the Rice Krispie treats before training, that was ideal, but only have rice after. I don't think it matters. You can debate me if you want, but I don't think it would have hurt him if he would have had rice at meal 2 instead of the oats or rice for breakfast along with the bison and whole eggs. I don't see why he can't just have rice at other meals during the day.
Throw that in there. And that's definitely at least a cup full. of spinach there, so that's perfect. And then
I love how Brian Shaw is 400 pounds and his salad is 1 cup. And I'm 200 pounds and my salad is the entire container. So it's just a different way to eat. He's eating for performance to be able to lift the most he can, and I'm eating for performance on the bike to be able to be lean, lighter, and so I can move quicker on a bike. So different foods, different ways to eat for different kinds of goals.
2 cups of rice.
I like how he puts 2 cups of rice and just guesses at it with a spoon. He's so accurate on the bison, trimming off 0.2, but he's just free scooping the rice. Don't free scoop. If you're eating peanut butter and you think it's a tablespoon, you're probably having 2 tablespoons, you don't even know it. Calories can add up real quick when it's high calorie dense foods. But for Brian, trying to eat 9,700 calories a day, does it really matter? He just needs to eat as much as he can without feeling overly full and unable to train.
When you get done with a hard workout, it can be a little bit tough to eat right away, as you might be able to tell. I'm kind of still sweaty.
And absolutely, after I train really hard, especially on the bike, it's very difficult to eat. I have no appetite after I finished a hard training session. So for me, I need to eat a little bit later. I can't eat right after I'm training. An hour, 2 hours later, that is my sweet spot for when I feel hungry and I want to eat. And meal number 5, 14 ounces of salmon, gonna get in some healthy fats at this point, a tiny little salad, as well as 6 ounces of sweet potato. And after that, well, an apple, which gives Strongman Brian Shaw a run for his money. Is Brian Shaw strong enough to cut an apple? Well, let's find out.
We can get with this one. Oh boy.
And we're doing another workout, tricep press downs with an apple for resistance. Unable to cut through the apple, it's just too friggin' big.
It was a little bit harder to finish, and this is what I find with adding a little bit more food into the diet. At certain points, it can be a little bit of a challenge.
And so he says eating is the hardest part of all of this. So if you're actually bulking to the point where you're full and stuffed and it's hard to get food down and you feel like you're gonna get up and throw up after you eat, it actually can be the hardest part. For the most part, it's harder to diet strictly than it is to bulk. Most people like bulking because you get to eat more food. Most people don't like starving all the time, hence people being overweight or obese. But for the most part, athletes, we love to train. Training is the highlight of the day. You want to go to the gym and you want to train hard. If you don't like training hard, you're never going to be an elite level athlete. You might think you can be, but you're never going to be as good as you are. So one thing that all athletes have in common is they like the training. It's not hard to go to the gym and train hard. That's just something we all do. You might think you're training so hard, but every athlete at the top level are training hard. It's just common sense. And so for them, eating this amount of food, it actually can be harder than the training. And so his pre-bed meal is usually 3 scoops of protein, but because he had a good training session, he's going to reward himself.
We are going to throw in some of the mini cheesecake treats. Now, this is not Nathan Payton approved. Hopefully he will.
I'm just going to eat them and tell him the next day. Or maybe not tell him. How many of you have coached people out there? This is what we deal with all the time. People just cheat on their diets and don't tell you. They decide on their own, oh, I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to add this. I had a great training day. I need these extra calories. He's going to have 6 cheesecake treats, 80 calories each, 540 calories. Now, as a percentage, it's not that much. It's less than 10% of his total calories. But it is a cheat, and he isn't asking his coach. I don't like that. I'd rather see him ask the coach first.
As you can see, the plastic is still on this, so I've done good. I have not indulged in the mini cheesecake treats.
So I'd like to know out there, does anyone think it would actually matter if he substituted the Rice Krispie treat thing for cheesecake things? Would that matter? He's allowed to have whatever fruit he wants. He can have the vegetable of choice. He chooses apples, blackberries. Could have chosen bananas, avocado. Does it matter? And so why is it okay to choose the fruit but not the treat? Rice Krispie treats on the top cupboard because his kid wants to eat them because we know it's junk food. How would it be different if he chose this instead of that?
I'm going to get to it. I'm going to mix up the shake. I'm going to indulge in the mini cheesecake treats and finish up the day.
And frankly, he's on a bulk here. He's trying to get as big as he possibly can to lift the most amount of weight. So I can't see the coach saying, no, it wasn't good that you got in an extra 500 calories. Worst case scenario, he says, no, that was too many calories. That's 500 extra calories. You got to eat 500 less calories today. Doesn't matter. He's in a bulk. When you're in a cut, that is when things matter. You think bulking is hard? It is easy. You just eat a lot. Cutting is hard because if you don't eat enough, you can lose muscle. If you eat too much, you don't lose any weight. That is when dieting is so difficult. It needs to be meticulously calculated. You undereat, you lose muscle. You overeat, you don't lose. Every meal matters. You skip meals and you're in a calorie deficit, you can stop building muscle. But in a bulk, what's the worst that can happen? You skip a meal, you still had plenty of food, and you eat too much, you eat a bit less the next day. Not going to matter. Best of luck to Brian Shaw. Hope he wins his competition. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IB Pro. The usual bloops there to watch. Harder than last time supplements. Also, you can get cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team. Subscribe, click the bell button, like the video if you liked it. Until next time, I'm out.